What's up, everybody? You see the title here, Top 10 Funko Pops I Want to See in 2019. I had moved away from doing lists like this and, videos like this just because I have the Funko Pop concept series going on my channel in which, members of the community that are artists share their artwork about pops they would like to see. And that covers a lot of bases there. And then also Funko covers a lot. They have a lot of licenses. They're always after licenses. They do a lot to try to keep, consumers happy. So, yeah, that's why I moved away from lists like this, but I thought this still would be fun, fun way to kind of kick off the year here, focusing on some pops I would like to see. And I do want to be clear up front, this is my personal list. So something that you may want to see may not be on my list. Don't take that personally. Of course, you can express yourself in the comments, but this is just my personal list, even though I did try to keep the community in mind to an extent. But just keep that in mind, though. This is my personal list. So I know some people like to say, I'm surprised you didn't say such and such. Well, remember, again, it's my personal opinions here. Now, before I get into it, I did kind of set parameters for myself like I usually do. I'm not going to focus on pops that I think have almost zero chance of being made. So even though I'm a big fan of Afro Samurai, I would love to see pops of it, especially since the figures and statues that are out there are really expensive. I just don't see this happening because I think Afro Samurai has a cult following, but it's not like the hot thing right now. You know what I'm saying? So I just don't see that happening. Same thing for Ninja Scroll. That's a classic anime. I love that movie. I think it's an all-time, classic anime, but I just don't see it happening. Again, it's not like the hot thing right now. I also want to point out, though, there will be one exception as far as this is concerned. There is one thing on this list that I think is a very slim chance, but I'm still going to address it anyway. And then also here, I'm not going to focus on pops that are pretty much guaranteed to happen. I mean, Avengers Endgame, we know there's going to be more pop figures. Also, the Joker movie starring Joaquin Phoenix, I mean, more than likely, that's a major release. More than likely, it will get pop figures. So when it comes to major movie releases, I don't feel the need to really address them. More than likely, it's going to happen. Same thing goes for rumors as well. There are some rumors out there that I'm not really going to worry about, except for one. Again, there will be one exception, but yeah, I'm not basically not going to waste time on things that are very likely to happen within this year. But enough about all that. Let's get into the list. And I do want to point out, when I say top 10 Funko Pops, for some of these, it will be like full waves or full lines I would like to see, and you'll see that as I go along here. So at the number 10 spot is the Office. Now, yes, I'm aware that the CEO did say that the Office Pops are on the way, so this is very likely, but sometimes licenses fall through. That happens sometimes. As a matter of fact, that'll be addressed later on in this list. So, fingers crossed, I'm going to think positive that this will happen. Now, the reason that it's so low on the list, though, for one thing, like I said, the license could fall through, but we'll see what happens with that. But always at the 10 spot because I have so many people over and over on my videos that say, love pop, I want pops of the Office. I mean, almost every Funko News video it happens. Somebody says they want pops of the Office. Almost every chat that I have, live chat, somebody says they want pops of the Office. So hearing it again and again and again has kind of sapped some of my enthusiasm for it. I mean, to me, it kind of goes without saying. I know a lot of people are fans of the Office and would love pop figures. So I'm just trying to be real with you all and honest with you all. That did kind of sap some of my enthusiasm, but still, I think they could do some interesting things based off of it. And as a matter of fact, the Funko Pop Concepts live action TV characters video that I did talk about some of the designs that I would like to see, and some people did share some designs. So make sure you check that out if you have not done so. Keeping it moving here, there are some pops based on Quentin Tarantino movies, including Pulp Fiction, Kill Bill, The Hateful Eight. I might be forgetting some, but I know those at least. And Grindhouse, I think, is missing. I would love to see Grindhouse pops made as well. And of course, Robert Rodriguez was the other director involved there. Robert Rodriguez did Planet Terror, and Quentin Tarantino did Death Proof. If they were to reach out to Quentin Tarantino and maybe try to do a director pop of him, which would be awesome, maybe at the same time they could go back and do some Grindhouse pops. So yeah, I know that's wishful thinking. Maybe this is somewhat slim. Maybe, it shouldn't be on the list completely, but I just had to put it here because, like I said, at least there are pops based off of some of his other movies. At the same time, though, Reservoir Dogs pops disappeared. I don't know what happened with that. The concept art was out there. Sometimes it does come down to the actors, whether or not they're willing to, let that happen. So maybe something happened in that way. But if they reached out to these actors, I hope they would be down for it, including Cherry Darling and Stuntman Mike. Those are the main two characters I would like to see. So if they reached out to those actors, I hope they would be cool with it. Now, one issue though with Stuntman Mike is he does have the Icy Hot logo on his jacket, so I don't know if they could actually pull that off or not. That'd be like a double license almost, but if they could make this happen, it would be pretty awesome, and it would be cool to see Cherry Darling with that machine gun leg. Moving on here, focusing on Marvel, one of the main Marvel pops I would love to see happen is a Joe Fixit pop, which is like this gangster alternative version of Hulk, and he has the gray skin as well. I think it would just be an amazing looking pop figure, and if they were to do it, I hope they would do it as a 6-inch pop. I'm kind of tired of seeing the undersized Hulk figures. I mean, he really should be a tall pop figure. Now, there are some pops that are in a standard size box, but they're actually kind of large, like, Juggernaut is a good example of that. So if they at least did that and they did Joe Fixit, I think it would be a very cool pop. And again, it's just so awesome to see like this alternate version of Hulk where he's like a gangster, basically. Next up here is a movie that is coming up very soon here, only 2 weeks away from the time of this recording, Glass. And Glass, continues this shared, really not a shared universe, but just a series of movies that M. Night Shyamalan has going on. And they did pops based off of Split. So, why not Glass, of course, and Mr. Glass himself would be a cool pop to see, looking just the way that he does here. I think this is like the definitive look for Mr. Glass. And Samuel L. Jackson actually pointed out, even though he is the box office king of all time, he has the largest box office, out of any actors ever, which is just insane, and that's because he's always working. But yeah, he's never actually had a movie where his character's name was the title. This is the first time, which is amazing. So yeah, it would be very cool, and I think historical in a way to have this pop figure. And of course, they need to do David Dunn as well, from Unbreakable. That'd be nice. And based off of this movie as well. So yeah, fingers crossed that this would happen. It could, it very well could happen. Next up here, The Last of Us. I'm a huge fan of the first game. Cannot wait for the second. I don't even think they have a predicted date of when that game is going to release. It may not be this year, and no rush. I really want it to be a really solid game, so no rush on that. But yeah, I definitely would like to see pops of Joel and Ellie. Going on that adventure with them was really cool. One of my greatest gaming experiences ever. This is like one of my top 5 favorite games of all time. So yeah, I really love pops of these characters, whether it's based off the first game or the second game. I kind of would like the first to be addressed, and maybe some from the second afterwards. We'll see what happens with that though. But also, like I said, along with the sequel, and whether it's based off the first game or the second game, they got to do the Infected as well, at least one of them, because the Infected in this game, the zombies basically in this game have a very unique look to them. The head sculpt would be amazing to look at, just very interesting. So yeah, fingers crossed that this can happen in the near future. And then Street Fighter. Of course, there are already some Street Fighter pops out there. I don't know if they sold really well, because I have seen a lot of Street Fighter pops on clearance. So I don't know if Funko is going to do any more of these or not, but I feel like I at least want to see M. Bison. M. Bison is one of my favorite character designs within Street Fighter. So yeah, I would like to at least see M. Bison, and then maybe some other characters like Vega, Sagat, some of the other characters that are really popular. But yeah, M. Bison is the main one I would like to see. So I hope that Funko hasn't completely given up on Street Fighter just yet. Now, Justice League Dark, I'm really a fan of that, at least the first run of the series, because I did read it. I read the collected edition, and I would really like to see some of these characters with Justice League Dark on the actual box. That's why I'm actually putting them together. I'd actually like to see that logo on the box, and the main characters I would like to see are Zatanna and Deadman. I really like those two characters. I think they would have great sculpts for their figures, and there is a Constantine pop that's going to be releasing in the near future here. So again, this is something that could happen, especially if this is a better year for DC than last year. I really hope that it will be. Now, yet again, I have a Marvel character here, and this is one I only recently discovered, and I'm really looking forward to reading the comics based on this character. I'm actually going to try to get some collected editions, but Cosmic Ghost Rider has an amazing design, and this is actually Frank Castle, as a Cosmic Ghost Rider. He has a crazy backstory, and he has the powers of multiple characters from the Marvel Universe, and it's this whole just really interesting storyline. So yeah, the design is amazing. I'm really looking forward to reading the story. I think this pop would do very well. Now, I would wish for some variants also. I know that's maybe reaching, maybe asking for too much, but, you know, if they had Cosmic Ghost Rider with Baby Thanos, that would be awesome to see, or him on his bike. That would be very cool as well. And of course, you know, glow in the dark, all of that would be very interesting to see. And, you know, obviously Funko has a lot of love for Marvel, so this is within the realm of possibility. Now, some figures that got people very hyped last year and then they disappeared on us, you know, McDonald's. McDonald's figures were supposed to be on the way. You know, that was a big rumor out there. But all of a sudden, it seems like they got canceled. For a while, there was actually pre-orders at GameStop. People had pre-orders in, and they got canceled. And then Funko actually did a poll on their Twitter account where they were asking people, you know, what ad icons they would like to see, and they had McDonald's on the list, which was kind of weird. So I don't know what is going on with that. Maybe there's still some negotiating that's happening with that, especially on how they would release the figures. I mean, obviously they would have to be sold at McDonald's as well. I think that's, you know, that just goes without saying. But yeah, I hope this comes back just because I think these would be awesome looking figures, very colorful. You know, they would definitely have that mass appeal. It's just easy money for the company, you know, both companies involved. So yeah, and I'm not sure if I would get them all myself necessarily, but I would definitely like Ronald McDonald and Hamburglar, definitely, you know, those two. So it just seems like easy money, something that needs to happen. So I hope that they are able to work out that license, you know, within this year. And then at the number 1 spot, Seinfeld. Now, this is a long shot, you know, just to be real, it's a long shot because these actors definitely do not need the money. You know, that's the big thing there, especially Jerry Seinfeld. He's a billionaire. This man does not need the money, you know, so I think that's why it's going to be hard to ever lock these down, you know, especially within this year, you know, because Seinfeld is still making millions upon millions upon millions of dollars off of reruns. They really don't need the money, but I'm hopeful, you know, I am hopeful. I'm going to keep some hope that maybe this could pan out. It would just take, you know, stars aligning basically for it to happen. Now, obviously, they would have to do the main 4 characters here, you know, Jerry, George, Elaine, and Kramer. That goes without saying. And, you know, them just in their kind of classic attire. And really what they're wearing within this image here, I think works pretty well. Maybe not George so much. Maybe not him in a sweater necessarily. You know, maybe more of a, you know, a jacket. You know, but regardless, though, of course, they would have to do the main 4. And then I would love to actually see alternate versions of them based off of, you know, some popular episodes. So, for example, you know, they could maybe even do it as a chase. I mean, I think Jerry in the pirate shirt would be hilarious to see as a pop figure. Maybe George in the Gore-Tex jacket. I think that's what it was called. Yeah, that huge jacket that he wore. That would be a pretty funny alternate one for him. Then Elaine doing the little kicks. If they had her in like a dancing pose, and they'd probably have to have her on a stand maybe and have just one leg up doing the little kicks, that would be hilarious. And then of course Kramer dressed as the pimp. These would just be amazing, you know, variations on the pops. I think these would be a hit, a big hit. But again, I know this is difficult for them to try to lock down in terms of the licensing. Now, Funko has technically had figures previously based off of Seinfeld. They had the vinyl idols, which I'm personally not a fan of the look of those. And this is a line that is not being produced anymore. Actually, the company that is with Funko that produced these is now focusing on the vinyl 2-packs. It's the same company. But you notice here that they were able to do, you know, side characters. They were able to do Kramer because I think Michael Richards is just not as bankable as the other 3 actors, you know. But yeah, getting the license on this is just tricky because, like I said, the actors don't need the money. But, you know, Funko has done something related to Seinfeld previously, so I'm not going to say 100% this will never happen. We'll keep our fingers crossed on that. And as far as side characters are concerned, for me, the only one I absolutely would love to see is Frank Costanza with the Festivus pole. That would be a must. That would definitely be a must. I think that would be very popular. I think Newman, a lot of people would say Newman as well. And yes, I can agree, you know, Newman would be cool. But yeah, the main 4 characters with some alternate outfits. And then, you know, like I said, Frank Costanza with the Festivus pole. And I would just be happy. I think that would be hilarious and very cool figures. So that is my list, you know, my personal list of figures I would like to see in the year 2019. I know there's some wishful thinking along the way, you know, and we'll just see what happens, though. I'm going to think positive on it. I definitely want to hear from you all. What are some figures you would like to see happen this year. Pokemon, I know a lot of people want to see that happen, and Funko has said they're trying their best. They were able to get Pikachu because Pikachu is actually licensed to more than one company, so that's how they were able to do that workaround. But you know, hopefully they can get the license to do some more Pokemon. They are trying. Trust me, Funko is trying. Same thing with Nintendo. The CEO actually pointed this out at Funko Fun Days last year. And he said, you know, it's not on them. He said it's on Nintendo. So fans got to reach out to Nintendo and ask them to give up the license for them to do Funko Pops. But Nintendo is just very protective of their characters when it comes down to it. Again, it's not in Funko's hands. But, you know, regardless of all of that, like I said, I really want to hear your list. What are some pops you would like to see in this upcoming year, or well, within this year now, because we are here. Thank you all so much for taking the time to check out this video. You know, drop a like if you enjoyed the video, share it, all that good stuff. You know, if you're new to the channel, subscribe. Again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll talk to you all again real soon.